How you doing, guys? How you doing on this beautiful day? I don't know what day it is that you are on, but it's a beautiful Saturday for me. So I figured let me do this video with you guys before I get on with my weekend. Let you know what do we mean by the title. You know what I mean? So the law of accumulation, guys. That's basically what I want to talk to you guys about today. And just break it down for the young guy, make it simple as possible just for you to understand, and dumb it down a bit for you. Not that you're stupid or anything like that, but just so you get it from my angle, my view on how things are on this life thing. So let's begin, guys. This is what I can tell you guys on my own experiences, right? Because in this video I always try to relate things to myself, what I've been through, what I've seen, sometimes here and there what I've heard, but most of all what I've gone through. Here's what I can tell you guys. It is true. I'm sure it's not the first time you've heard it before, but I can tell you this, it is true. Everything counts. When you take that candy bar on the last shelf before you check out your grocery, when you hanging with all these playful women, telling yourself you get married later on in your mid-30s, it all counts. When you eating anything you want, telling yourself you're not gonna gain weight today, tell you what, it all counts. When you being disrespectful to family members and friends, thinking that they're all gonna be around forever, or you'll be respectful another time, it all counts. You know what I mean? If you say to yourself, I'm not gonna do the school thing for now, I'm gonna hustle a bit later, I'll take life a bit seriously when I start my 30s or the end of my 20s, guess what? It all counts, guys. It all counts. The law of accumulation, guys, is not just finance related, right? You'd probably think I want to talk about, hey, save $100 today, 1,000 month end. Oh, it grows over time. By the end of the year, you may have like 10 bands, under your name in your savings account. Yes, that is very true. But that's the financial aspect of the law of accumulation. Apparently, this law applies to everything else. That's basically what this video about, to let you know that it does not just apply to finance, guys. It applies to a lot of things. You go to work, you do more than what you paid for, that accumulates over time, and you find out that 5 years later you get a promotion. It does take that long sometimes. 5 years later you get a promotion, and the guys that got to that company maybe just before you, or the guys that came same time as you, but mostly the guys that got there way before you, do not understand how is it that you just came and a few years later you got a certain position. Here's the thing, guys. People always observe. I learned this the long way. You think you could dig your nose every Monday and no one would catch you? You do that long enough, consistent enough, there's going to be a girl out there that knows that so-and-so is always digging his nose every Monday. People notice, guys. Now, don't mistake that with people care. People don't have to notice things to care about you. We observative like that, got that simply from our ancestors who had to be very observant of their surroundings because at any moment, they could get eaten, right? And those brains, guys, the brains that we have come all the way from the Somophians. I have to look up that name, man. But those are our ancestors from 2,000 years ago. So the brains that we have today, we got the development, the hardware that we have came from them, guys. So you may use all that makeup and look good and think you bougie, all that. But in reality, you inherited everything on you. You know what I mean? So back in the day, they had to be alert on a lot of things to survive. And we still have that within us. You know what I mean? So, what I'm trying to say, guys, is you need to note that people observe things, whether good or bad. And most of the time, it happens when you don't think no one is observing it. You know what I mean? So, here's what I can tell you guys. Whenever you do things, take it in mind that you are either depositing it on the positive side of the journal or on the negative side of the journal. But over time, it accumulates and then the world sees it. That's when people be coming out the woodworks talking about, we do not understand how this guy became a millionaire by overnight. Oh yeah, he was here a few years ago. He disappeared for about 3 years, 4 years. He came back. We're in the same hood, and now he's got a double story or something. I think he's in the cocaine business. He's probably a drug dealer. You know, when they don't know, you've been accumulating a couple of school degrees. You've been accumulating your money and savings over time. You've been accumulating being respectful at work. You've been accumulating a couple of brownie points with your woman who's now your wife. And they don't seem to understand why your relationship is flowing the way it's flowing, all because you've invested on your woman rather than being a player. You know what I mean? So the accumulation thing, guys, it applies to so many areas. So many areas. And I learned this a little bit too late, but it's never too late to learn, you know. You need to always calculate, guys, what you are doing. Every day you wake up, there's some decisions that you have to make. You know, you mess around and have McDonald's too long, you know what comes with that, right? Not necessarily just your belly being big, but there's other health issues that you might just have, you know. So what I want to teach with you guys is always take note of the things you do, you know. Sometimes it's indirectly, guys. You don't really see it. That's how the world works. I don't know how it works in the sense of like hiding it from you. But at the same time, you know how to pull it off. But you just choose to play dumb. That's what the 90% does, you know. For instance, you go out on the weekends, you enjoy it with your friends. You do that too long, being part of the, oh, thank God it's a Friday club. You stretch it out over 5 to 10 years. What you find out is that now, when you get to your 40s, other kids are just too damn rich, too damn successful. But you don't understand how, simply because one of your buddies invested just 4 or 5 hours on a Saturday to that YouTube channel, to that extra research on whatever website they were building, you know, to whatever side hustle they were onto. When you multiply 4 hours of putting that into your work every Saturday over multiple years, the results end up showing, guys. At some point, that person strikes a gold. And you can't be mad about it that you got yourself a Toyota Taz and your friend is driving around in a 4 Series BMW. And you go back home and you tell people that, you know, he's using that voodoo thing, bro. That's not how it is, guys. I used to judge a lot of people by the way they looked, by the way they drank around me. So I figured, they rich at home. This one's got it good at home. He ain't got it like that. Somewhere down the line, one of the family members probably had money and passed an inheritance money. But it turns out, guys, that some people, they party when they party, right? But when that clock strikes Monday or when it's hustle time and you still suffering from a hangover on a Monday, them homeboys are up at 7 a.m. on a Monday pushing it hard. And guess what? He'll disappear for another 3 months. But when he does party, he blows a couple of grands at night and you just think, it's casual. Guys, listen, guys, let me tell you something. The competition is always on. The competition is always on. The ultimate competition is within yourself, yes, but The competition versus you, your siblings, damn it, your parents, your colleagues, your neighbors, your friends, even your indirect enemies, your exes. There's always competition, guys. That is why people talk about there's levels to this. There's levels of discipline, guys. There's level of accumulating things. Okay. Before you can accumulate a couple of businesses, accumulate a couple of millions, you first got to accumulate some respect. You got to give respect to people before you get it. You got to save those pennies to make a real dollar later, you know. Everything counts, guys. As little as it may seem, as the results may not show today, they eventually show later, guys. You know what I mean? You know, I like making the gym analysis, man. Like, you find a big guy in the gym. You know, he's there every day pushing hard at the gym, bro. At that point in time, you can probably see, like, okay, this guy is big. He's probably on steroids. That's what most people say. He's probably on steroids. But that guy is like, what, 35? If you ask him when was the first time he's in a gym, he will tell you at 14. And when you ask him when did you start taking working out serious, he'll tell you at 24. If you had to see his pics at 27, 26, he's been ripped. He's been consistently going there. And that doesn't apply to guys who work out. That goes to people who have companies today. How is this guy 35 with such a good turnover business? Little do you know, he started at 18. That first time he registered that company domain website was at 18. Imagine, guys, developing an Amazon type of website for 20 years. Every week you're adjusting something, you're tweaking something on that website. What do you think that website is going to look like after 15 years? If I'm struggling in a certain area of the website, I go on LinkedIn, I go online, or ask a friend of a friend, can you help me with this certain part of programming that's giving me problems? You sort that out on one weekend, guys. So you can imagine what happens if you're sorting things weekly for the next 20 years. You know, and people, like, they don't get it. But I'm telling you, this goal thing, this dig and get the goal thing, it's slowly, guys. This is how it is. That's a universe code. It does things like this, guys. It does not do things like this. You have an easy life now, you pay later. You have a difficult life now, you relax later. You know? So, accumulate, guys. That's the numbers game that I wanted to share with you guys today. That everything is about accumulation. From the smallest thing as eating a candy bar every day to just saving less than you should be saving, over time, that difference shows. You look at yourself at the end of the year, you're like, you know what? My goal was 50 grand, but since I used to skip some months or I used to fall off just a bit from my target, now it's end of the year, you got 39K, and you just can't seem to understand why you're not close to 50 as your first initial goal. Simple. Accumulation. You slack one day, you slack 1 week, over time it adds up, guys. So please, respect the numbers game. Respect the numbers game. Always think years ahead, guys. Always think months ahead if that's just too much for you. You know, if you start on that school thing today, you can't be thinking about, oh my God, I got 400 classes to go to this week. You gotta think about 10 years later when that degree is the same degree that's paying for your bills, feeding your kids, making you a better man, being able to sort out problems within the family. You know, always think ahead, guys. That's the message I have for you guys today, that you always got to think ahead. You know, teach this to your kids, you know. Teach this to your kids. Teach it to anyone. In fact, you have to master it yourself. You know, like for me, guys, I already told you that I'm a UX graphic designer type of guy. But all those times, I used to be on the computer with no one paying me, doing free jobs, right? Over the years, I only started making serious money from it 15 years later. Imagine. The first time I used the software was like at 15, 16. Made some bunch of money at like 23, 24. Better money at like 27, 28. It wasn't all that, you know. But at 31, guys, that's when I started really making money from what I've learned 15 years ago. You know, until today, that's how I live, making money off my graphics, you know what I mean? But as you can see, guys, it's a time game. Everything adds up. Learning that software over time. Learning how to cook if you're trying to start a restaurant over time. Learning how to run that business on different departments over time. And the nice thing with the low accumulation, guys, that later on it gets easier. It starts being easier. You know, you put me next to your computer, you can give me any logo right now, today, and I can redraw it. And I can make it better, you know. I remember the first time I struggled when a client came to me and said, make me a logo about such and such a company. You know, but I learned all the tricks over time, guys. So it is possible. Respect the numbers game, and always remember that this is a world of mathematics, guys. Addition, subtraction, simple as that. We add and we subtract. And you gotta always make sure that you're on the surplus side, guys. On the surplus side. So respect the numbers game, and always know that the world is always watching. You know, do yourself a favor and always be on the addition side so that you have less regrets later on. Okay, guys, so I'm gonna catch you on the next video. Hopefully I got an interesting topic for you guys. Comment, like, subscribe. Help me get to 100 subscribers. I'll see you on the next video, man. Peace.